My stepdad hated me and wanted to throw me out. Little did he know that the house belonged to me legally. All right, so let me paint a picture for you. My mom, Fiona, had always been a free spirit. After my dad passed away when I was just 10, it was just the two of us against the world. We lived in this cozy little house in the countryside, surrounded by fields and forests, where I could run wild and free. Life was good, until she met Heinrich. Heinrich was this German guy she met on a solo trip to Berlin. They hit it off instantly, and before I knew it, he was moving in with us. I didn't mind at first. I mean, Mum deserved to be happy, but Heinrich was, let's just say he had a temper. He didn't like me much, and made that abundantly clear. I remember the first time he yelled at me for leaving my shoes by the door. It was like he was waiting for any reason to blow up. It wasn't long before things started getting really bad. Heinrich was always on my case about something. If it wasn't the shoes, it was my music being too loud, or me not doing my chores correctly. Mum tried to keep the peace, but it was like walking on eggshells. I was counting the days until I could leave for university. One evening, things hit a boiling point. I was in my room, headphones on, trying to drown out the world, when Heinrich barged in, yanking the headphones off my head. "You useless piece of shit," he spat. "You can't do anything right. Why are you even here?" I was taken aback. "What the hell, Heinrich? I'm just listening to music." "Your mother and I don't need you here anymore. You're just a burden," he snarled. Now, I'd had enough of his crap, but I didn't want to make things harder for Mum, so I just nodded and stayed quiet. I figured it would blow over, but Heinrich wasn't done. He started making my life hell. Every little mistake, every tiny infraction was a reason for him to explode. And then he crossed the line. I came home from school one day to find my stuff thrown into black garbage bags on the porch. Heinrich was standing there, arms crossed, with a smug look on his face. "You're leaving," he said flatly. "Mum?" I shouted, pushing past him into the house. She was sitting at the kitchen table, looking distraught. "Mom, what's going on?" I demanded. "He wants you out, Lachlan," she said quietly. "He thinks it's best for all of us." That night, I couldn't sleep. I felt betrayed. My own mother was letting this man kick me out of my home. But then I remembered something. When Dad died, he left the house to me. Legally, it was mine. I guess Mum didn't think I'd remember, or maybe she thought I was too young to understand, but I knew I had the documents somewhere. The next day, while Heinrich was at work, I rummaged through the attic and found the papers. Sure enough, the house was in my name. My dad had made sure we'd always have a place to call home, no matter what. I felt a surge of relief and a bit of vindication. It was time to put Heinrich in his place. That evening, I waited for him to start his usual tirade. As soon as he did, I calmly pulled out the documents and slapped them on the table. "Actually, Heinrich," I said, my voice shaking with anger, "this house is mine, legally, so if anyone's leaving, it's you." He looked at the papers, his face turning red. "What the hell is this?" he stammered. "It's the deed to the house, asshole. It was left to me by my father. You have no right to kick me out." Heinrich was livid. He stormed out of the house, slamming the door so hard it rattled the windows. Mum looked at me, tears streaming down her face. "Lachlan, I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I didn't know what else to do. He said he would leave if you didn't." I sighed, feeling a mixture of anger and pity. "Mum, you deserve better than him. He's a bully and he's been treating us both like shit. We don't need him." It took a few days for Heinrich to come back. When he did, he was eerily calm. "I've spoken to Fiona. We've decided to stay together, but you need to respect me and follow my rules if you want to stay here." I laughed in his face. "You don't get it, do you? This is my house. You follow my rules or you leave." Mum didn't say much during this exchange, but I could see the conflict in her eyes. She loved him, but she also knew I was right. In the end, Heinrich backed down. He stopped trying to throw me out, but the tension in the house was unbearable. Every day was a battle, a war of attrition between us. Months passed, and I managed to make it to graduation. I got accepted into a university far enough away that I could leave the nightmare behind. But I wasn't about to let Heinrich and his toxic presence ruin the home my dad had left me. Before I left, I had a talk with Mom. "I'm going away to university, Mom. I won't be here to protect you from Heinrich." She nodded, looking weary. "I know, Lachlan, but I'll manage, I promise. I want you to take care of yourself, Mom, and if things get bad, you come to me, okay?" She hugged me tightly, and I could feel her trembling. "I will, Lachlan. Thank you." Leaving was bittersweet. I was free from Heinrich's tyranny, but I was worried about Mom. I called her every week, making sure she was okay. Eventually, she found the courage to leave Heinrich. She moved into a smaller place, and we started to rebuild our relationship. As for the house, I decided to rent it out. It felt too full of bad memories to live in, but I couldn't bear to sell it. It was a part of my dad, a part of me, and I knew that no matter what happened, it would always be a safe haven. Looking back, it was a tough time, but it made me stronger. I learned to stand up for myself and for the people I love, and I realized that sometimes you have to fight for your right to be happy. No one else is going to do it for you.